Hi, everybody. Okay, I'm excited. It's Friday. Happy Friday, TGIF. Yeah. So, I finally got a couple of payoffs this week. Um, okay. So, they're finally back in Genoa City. Thank you, God. Um, okay. Number two. So, because of that, we're starting to see the fallout and, other conversations about stuff that was going on before they left, which I always like because I like to close the loop. So, um, okay. So, Jack and Diane are talking, and then Billy happens to show up and say that he has to have a conversation with Jack. He then informs Diane leaves, and finally they have her in some color. Now, they had her in color for the whole time they were on vacation, so I was kind of expecting that. But then I'm always afraid that whenever they come back home, they're gonna put her in something dark again. But they had her in a red suit, so I like it. Okay. So then she leaves, and Jack and Billy talk, and Billy tells Jack that he doesn't want him in the business anymore because he feels that he can't do what he wants to do, and that he kind of contradicted himself by saying, "Oh yeah, I'm behind you. You can do what you want. It's your company, yada yada." All that stuff. And then Jack is starting to say, "Well, I know I said that you could do what you want, but I don't think you should do this, and I think you should do that way." You know, So, yeah, and I would say the same thing, and I said the same thing before. And I'm like, that's not what they signed up for. But Jack is stuck on the fact that he put his faith and his money on Billy, not Sally or anyone else. That is, that's his contention. Okay. Um. Yeah. Then the after effect of that might be that they have severed ties before on the business front, but it always seems to seep into the personal at some level. And so that's what Jack is afraid of, but he can't really say for sure right now because it hasn't happened yet. Okay. On to another story. Now, this one I'm really excited about because now I'm excited about it because I kind of predicted it, and but I'm excited because I can see it happening, and that's what I enjoy. I don't want to know what's gonna happen beforehand, like way beforehand, but when I can predict it, yay! Okay, so um, now I have to talk about something that they're kind of talking about a little bit, but I haven't come to fruition on that one either. Okay. So, and this kind of ties into another thing I was thinking last night. Connor Floyd has been on all kinds of social media saying that the reason why he left YNR is because he got a job at Days. Everybody knows that. I'm not talking about something nobody knows. Okay. So that's why everything was so quick. Okay. Um, And the fallout for that is going to be the reaction of everyone once they find out that Chance is unalive. So I'm still waiting on Jill's reaction and Nina, well, and everybody connected to him, which happens to be a lot of people when you really think about it. So there's going to be, I would hope, if they respect Connor Floyd and his character, which they should, um, I would think it'd be kind of a slow rollout because you have to do scenes with practically everybody he was ever involved with in any kind of capacity. So it would be nice if they showed a scene about how Abby reacts and how Mariah and all the people that were kind of like connected to him at some point. So Sharon, Summer, Abby, like I said, kind of dominate because he did raise them for a little bit, although that happened to be at the time when he was supposed to be in the military, so he wasn't there all the time. But there's a lot of people that he touched. So, okay. So then we're still waiting on the reactions of all those people, and Diane talked about a little bit about how, yeah, Chance was a really nice man, really good man, and he's gonna be missed here. So they're talking about it, which means the more they talk about something, they're going to address it in a more full manner at some point. Okay, so that's still on the back burner, sort of, but going to happen. Okay, now what's happening right now? Happening is Tessa and Daniel, and I like it because now let me put this out there before I start. Kind of, I know I'm gonna get some flack because I was a big champion of Tessa and Mariah's relationship and marriage and the whole thing. And just to be clear, I still am. But what I hold on to is the fact that Tessa has tried and tried to get into Mariah and explain to her that no matter what you say, I'll always be with you and all that stuff. And Mariah is the one closing the door. So, okay, those are the patterns that you have to understand first. Okay, that's the foundation. Okay, then on top of that, I believe that because of the separation, they're still going to have a good relationship, co-parenting relationship with Arya, but I think they're going to split the stories in two, and they're going to deal with Mariah and what's going on with Mariah at some point, although they should have dealt with it already. Because, okay, now this is going a little bit back too. All right. Um, we finally found out what Mariah did that was so bad. Now, I talked about it slightly, but it's actually, now that I actually kind of see what they might be doing with it, I'm going to talk about it a little more. Okay, so she, and they showed it in a flashback scene. So at first, I didn't know what I was seeing until I really focused, and I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't shocking, it was just the way they unveiled it. So then, okay. So she unalived uh, the guy. Um, what's his face? The one that affected Sharon and her. So anyway, um, okay. And then, so that's the big thing. Okay. So it seems like what they're going to do is they're going to allow the separation between Tessa and Mariah to happen. And like I said, they're going to have a co parenting relationship with their daughter. But then also, they're going to which will allow for the relationship between Tessa and Daniel to become more than just a friendship. And I say that the friendship has been building for a while, okay? Because at first they started out, and you're supposed to believe that they didn't really think of each other as friends, and Tessa was going through the thing with Mariah, and Daniel was going through his own thing, and they kind of met because he wanted her, or she said, I'll help you learn guitar as a release of all the grief, right? Okay, so then the bond starts building there. And then every time that I see any kind of interaction between Michael Grossaday and Kate Fairbanks, I see the connection growing. Okay? Between the characters, I see the connection. And I think ultimately, Kate and Michael have a good relationship off camera so that you can really believe in their friendship and then you can see it going the romantic direction because they already have the closeness from friendship. That's what I believe. Okay. So today, Kate or no, sorry, Tessa and Arya, which I got to say, the actress they hired, the little kid actress to play Arya, she's so cute. Okay, side note, sorry. Um, okay, so Tessa is in the park with Arya, and she's in the stroller, and then I don't know. I could tell she was sad and whatever. So then I thought she was gonna have a meltdown. Honest, like not a meltdown, but like a little small one because of being overwhelmed of all this stuff. And then I was like, okay. So then Daniel happens to be in the background at first. And he's just watching her, be with her child. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then that's right after that was when the meltdown kind of happened. And she didn't have something, I forget. And he says, well, what about gummy bears? And he happens to have a packet of gummy bears in his pocket or something. I don't know. And so he gives it to her. And so that they kind of bond over that. And then uh, Arya is taking a nap or something. So it's just Tessa and Daniel, and they're laying on the grass. And I, I gotta say, man, okay. Now, I know full well that Michael Grosday is involved personally or whatever. So, not a slight on your partner or fiance there. But Michael Grasday, okay, Michael Grasday is hot. And the reason I say this is because I have never seen a man be able to lay on the grass and be like sideways, laying down on the grass and be like so chill. Okay, had a moment. Sorry. Okay, so then I'm like, okay, cool. And then they start talking, and he teaches her that, you can see animals in the cloud shape, right? So, they start bonding. And then he says something, and she's like, oh no, come on. And she touches his arm. Okay, ladies, and everybody, I think ladies know this, but touching, kind of playfully hitting, is a sign of attraction. And anytime the person likes you, they're going to find any attempt to touch you. It's just the way it is. Because touching, it starts like, okay, imagine I'm somebody else for a second, okay? And let me see if I can do this. Okay, so here's my arm, right? And if a guy likes you, anybody likes you, they're gonna try to touch you on some surface of your body, not in a bad way, but just to say, hey, whatever. And so it's starting, okay? They're getting really close. And I mean physically close. I mean, like, they were like this close to each other. And I'm like, oh. I literally said in my head, are they gonna kiss? It looked like that, but then I was like, no, wrong timing, too soon, whatever. But I swear that was a thought in my head. Okay. But the touching is the first start of the anything like that. And I can see it happening. So I hope it's, well, for the situations between both characters, like alone, I want it to be kind of a slow burn, but not a slow burn where I'm like, already, come on. Not that long, you know. But and then plus she said, Tessa said to him that she told Mariah that she would wait for her, but not forever. So that's why I believe there's an opening in the door of like Tessa's gonna get to the point where she is upset or just gives up entirely and says, okay, well, I gave you X amount of time and clearly it's not happening. So I give, right? And then sometime after that, she's going to realize, if she doesn't realize before, that she has some kind of attraction to Daniel. You know, that it's more than friendship and all this stuff. So that's what I think is going to happen there. Let's see, what else? I think I covered it all because it wasn't too much. Because, like I said before, this much I've learned about soap operas, and I don't care what soap opera it is, they rotate characters. So if you have a story with Kyle, say Kyle and Audra and uh, Kyle and Claire. Okay, so Kyle, Audra, and Claire. Okay, they were there yesterday, so that means they won't be back on until next week. That's how it goes. Oh, and I can also say that about the spoilers a little bit. Okay, so Kyle and Audra are well, Kyle and Claire are gonna be there, and something about Billy and Phyllis and Kane too. And I didn't see anything else. So at least I got 2 days. But I don't know which 2 days what I just said is gonna air, so I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So once again, we start on the movement train. You know, like it's actually moving. I like it. Bye everybody.